You're welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, where we bring you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. My name is Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us. In the headlines, Defense Minister assures protection for soldiers on lawful duty. Federal government pledges to foster an enabling environment for diaspora engagement. PDP suspends Guber candidate, accuses him of selling out during Anambra poll. Abia government pays 20 million naira compensation to victims of collapsed billboard in Aba. Governor Diri speaks on managing rift with deputy over APC defection. On business news, federal government holds 15% fuel import tax. NMDPRA warns against panic buying. Manufacturers seek reversal of sachet alcohol ban. On the foreign scene, German coalition partners agree on new military service personnel. Russia claims advances in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv regions. On sports, Barcelona makes Harry Kane first choice target in January push. Goalkeeper Ederson opens up about unhappiness during final days at Manchester City. Now the news. Minister of Defense Alhaji Mohammed Badaru Abubakar has assured that no officer or soldier on lawful duty will face punishment following the recent altercation between military personnel and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), Honorable Nyesom Wike, in Abuja. The incident occurred when soldiers were deployed to safeguard a disputed property in the capital. In the aftermath, a coalition of retired military veterans threatened to occupy the FCT ministry if the officer involved, said to be acting under lawful orders, was sanctioned. Speaking during a ministerial briefing to flag off the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration at the National Defense College Abuja, Alhaji Badaru reaffirmed the government's commitment to protecting officers performing their duties in line with the law. He highlighted the military's recent operational achievements, including the neutralization of over 13,000 terrorists and criminals, the arrest of more than 17,000 suspects, and the rescue of nearly 10,000 hostages. The minister added that the armed forces had dismantled key terrorist enclaves, neutralized notorious bandit leaders, and restored peace to several communities, enabling displaced persons to return home. He noted that operations in the South-South region had resulted in the destruction of over 1,900 illegal refining sites as part of efforts to secure Nigeria's economic assets. Alhaji Badaru said the Ministry of Defense, under President Bola Tinubu's direction, was deepening collaboration among the services and security agencies to sustain the momentum against insecurity. He emphasized the adoption of a whole-of-society approach that brings together government, civil society, traditional institutions, academia, and the private sector in tackling national security challenges. He also cited the signing of the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria (DICON Act 2023) as a major step towards developing indigenous defense production capacity, supported by the acquisition of modern military platforms, including armored vehicles, unmanned aerial systems, and naval vessels. Meanwhile, Senior Special Assistant to the FCT, Minister of Public Communication and Social Media, Mr. Larry Olayinka, said that former Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, retired, was deceived into purchasing land originally designated for park and recreational use in Abuja. Mr. Olayinka explained that the land allocated to Santos Estate Limited in 2007 was never approved for residential purposes. He alleged that despite the company's pending request for a change of land use in 2022, it proceeded to sell portions of the property to unsuspecting buyers, including the former naval chief. He maintained that the former Chief of Naval Staff should direct his grievances towards those who sold the land, rather than officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration enforcing land use regulations. President Bola Tinubu's administration is fully committed to creating an enabling environment that fosters collaboration between the Nigerian diaspora and the home country. Vice President Kashim Shettima said this at the ongoing 2025 8th edition of the Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit (NDIS) held at the State House Conference Center, Presidential Villa, Abuja, themed fast-tracking regional and national development by mobilizing diaspora investment. Vice President Shetima, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Dunoma Ahmed, said that the theme was apt as it expressed the ambition of President Tinubu's administration to build a Nigeria that would grow from the combined strength of his people, both at home and abroad. He stated that Nigeria's prosperity would come faster when the public sector, the private sector, and the Nigerian global diaspora work together in unity of purpose. Vice President Shetima added that the Renewed Hope agenda identified the diaspora as a central pillar of Nigeria's foreign policy, alongside democracy, development, and demographics. These platforms provide a trusted gateway for Nigerians abroad to invest in Nigeria's real estate, turning the dream of owning a home in Nigeria into a secure reality. Vice President Shetima, speaking on MSMEs, acknowledged that they were the cornerstone of Nigeria's economic growth and social development, and the surest means of distributing wealth equitably. He, however, said that unfortunately, while Nigeria's over 39 million MSMEs contributed over 50% of the country's GDP and employed 80% of the country's workforce, they faced acute challenges, especially in assessing finance. He stated that the project listed earlier were not mere promises, but evidence that Nigeria was making progress. Speaking at the event, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Malagi, urged Nigerians to refrain from portraying the country in a negative light to the outside world and encouraged them to remain patriotic citizens. The crisis within the Anambra State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has deepened following the suspension of the party's governorship candidate in the recently concluded election, Mr. Jude Ezenwafo, and his subsequent rejection of the decision. The State Executive Committee, led by Dr. Chidi Chidebe, announced Mr. Ezenwafo's suspension for 1 month after a meeting in Awka. The committee accused him of sabotaging the party's efforts during the governorship election by refusing to campaign or participate in party activities. It alleged that after securing the PDP ticket, Mr. Ezenwafo became unreachable, failed to hold any campaign rally, and later claimed he had been attacked and shot in Abuja, an incident the party said was never verified by hospital or security reports. In a communique issued after the meeting, the committee expressed disappointment over his conduct, describing his performance as the worst in the party's history. It noted that Mr. Ezenwafo secured only 1 vote in his ward, Nobi Ward 3, Idemili South local government area, and accused him of working against the party's collective interest. The committee resolved to suspend him for 1 month with immediate effect and referred him to the State Disciplinary Committee for further investigation. It also advised the National Working Committee to deny Mr. Ezenwafo and his associates access to the National Secretariat, alleging that their actions were aimed at destabilizing the party. The party further called on the Federal Capital Territory Police Command to investigate the candidate's claim of being attacked, insisting there was no evidence to support it. However, Mr. Ezenwafo dismissed the suspension, insisting that the Chidebe-led state executive had no powers to discipline him. He maintained that he did not recognize the current state leadership of the PDP, claiming that the administrative control of the party in Anambra resided with an administrative secretary appointed by the National Executive Committee. Mr. Ezenwafo explained that he withdrew from the governorship race hours before the election due to lack of funds and support from the party. He said he accepted the nomination to prevent the PDP from collapsing in the state and described the allegations of sabotage as blackmail. The suspensions and counterclaims have further exposed deep divisions within the Anambra PDP, which has struggled to regain political relevance in the state since losing power nearly 2 decades ago. The Abia State Government has paid a total of 20 million naira as compensation to victims of the billboard collapse that occurred near Obonnaya Onu Polytechnic Aba on May 28, 2025. The privately owned billboard mounted along the Aba-Owerri Road collapsed during a storm, killing a commercial tricycle operator, injuring several people, and damaging nearby shops. Governor Alex Otti also covered the medical expenses of the injured victims. 9 individuals received compensation, including the widow of the deceased tricycle operator, Mrs. Choma Destiny, who was paid 9.6 million naira to support her children's welfare and invest in small-scale business venture. Other affected tricycle operators received 1.6 million naira each, while 2 shop owners whose businesses were damaged were given 500,000 naira each. The senior special assistant to the governor on transportation, Dr. Obioma Nwogbe, who represented the governor during the disbursement ceremony at the government house Umuahia, said the compensation was facilitated in collaboration with the Abia State Signage and Advertising Agency, ABSSA, ABSA, and the owners of the billboard. He explained that the intervention was designed to help victims recover their livelihoods and return to business, adding that replacement tricycles will be provided to the affected operators. Dr. Nwogwe cautioned relatives of the deceased tricyclist against interfering with the funds given to his widow, emphasizing that the money was strictly for her use in supporting her children and establishing a source of income. He commended Governor Uti for the approval and noted that the administration's gesture was a demonstration of compassion and accountability. The chairman of the Abia State Tricycle Operators Union, ASTOPO, Mr. Azubike Victor, and some of the beneficiaries lauded the governor for the assistance, describing it as unprecedented in the state. Meanwhile, the managing director of ABSA, Ms. Victoria Onwubiko, said the agency had strengthened its regulatory framework to prevent future billboard collapses. She said the agency has begun an audit of all high-rise boards across the state to ensure their structural integrity in line with the priority of safeguarding lives and maintaining environmental standards. According to her, the government is instituting improved processes to enforce proper standards in outdoor advertising and signage as part of efforts to build a safer, more organized, and aesthetically enhanced Abia State. Moving on, Governor Doye Diri of Bayelsa State said he would not compel his deputy, Senator Lawrence Eurojakbo, to defect to the All Progressives Congress with him. Speaking during the weekly State Executive Council meeting at Government House, Yenegua, Governor Diri said he prefers engagement to confrontation, even though he admitted that operating from different parties could be difficult. The governor resigned from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) on October 15 and formally joined the APC on November 3. He described the defection as a decision driven by national alignment and developmental opportunities for the state of Bayelsa. Governor Diri revealed that his deputy has discontinued a case filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja over an alleged impeachment plan. According to him, the matter was resolved after personal discussions, describing it as a sign that dialogue remains the best tool for resolving political disagreements. Addressing reports of cracks within his cabinet, Governor Diri stressed that he would rather appeal to understanding than coerce anyone. The governor also praised President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima for their support during his defection ceremony, pledging to work for a better Nigeria. Responding to rumors about the influx of armed men into the state, the governor dismissed the reports as fake news but said security agencies have been alerted. He reaffirmed Bayelsa as one of the safest states in Nigeria, urging residents to verify information before sharing it on social media. This is Comfort TV, the channel news. We'll return shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned to Comfort TV, the channel news. In the world of business, the federal government has suspended the implementation of the 15% and Valorem import duty on imported petrol and diesel. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, announced the decision in a statement by its spokesperson, Mr. George Eneita, assuring that there is sufficient supply of petroleum products across the country. According to NMDPRA, current stock levels remain within the acceptable national sufficiency threshold, ensuring steady replenishment of depots and retail outlets during this period of high demand. The authority cautioned against hoarding, panic buying, or arbitrary price increases by marketers, stressing that there is no cause for concern regarding product availability. It further assured that the NMDPRA will continue to closely monitor the national supply and distribution network and take necessary regulatory measures to prevent any disruption. The suspension of the import duty comes amid efforts to stabilize fuel supply and maintain market confidence across the downstream sector. Still on business, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria (MAN) has called on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) to rescind its decision to ban the production and sale of alcoholic beverages in sachets and small PET bottles. MAN described the ban as inconsistent with agreements reached under the National Alcohol Policy, warning that it could lead to massive job losses, reduced industrial activity, and a rise in illicit trade. NAFDAC has directed that all sachets and small bottle alcoholic drinks be phased out by December 31, 2025, following a resolution reportedly passed by the Senate on November 6. MAN noted that the decision contradicts earlier resolution and undermines stakeholder efforts, including a one-year extension granted by the Ministry of Health and subsequent validation of the draft National Alcohol Policy in October. The association criticized the lack of broader stakeholder consultations before the ban was announced, highlighting that previous engagements had already considered the positions of all relevant parties, including NAFDAC. MAN warned that the ban could result in the loss of over 1.9 trillion naira in industry investments, affect more than 500,000 direct jobs and 5 million indirect workers, and disrupt manufacturing operations nationwide. It also noted that claims of widespread underage abuse of sachet alcohol are unfounded, pointing to extensive industry campaigns promoting responsible consumption and discouraging underage drinking. The association urged both the Senate and NAFDAC to reconsider the ban and instead implement the validated National Alcohol Policy, which provides a structured multi-sectoral framework for regulating the industry while avoiding sudden economic disruptions for manufacturers and workers. Germany's coalition government agreed Thursday on a new military service model that keeps recruitment voluntary while mandating that all 18-year-old men complete a questionnaire about their interests and qualifications for military service. Speaking at a parliamentary press conference, Defense Minister Boris Pistorius highlighted the success of similar mixed systems in Northern European nations and voiced optimism that the new approach would resolve the armed forces' chronic personnel shortages without resorting to general conscription. The Social Democrat minister said if the voluntary model fails to meet recruitment goals, the Parliament will need to reconsider the policy in the coming years and pursue legislative amendments, potentially discussing demand-based conscription or even mandatory general conscription as a last resort. The coalition, comprising Chancellor Friedrich Merz's Conservative, CDU, and CSU bloc and the Social Democrats, plan to introduce the legislation for a parliamentary vote in the coming weeks. Minister Pistorius confirmed that the aim for the law would take effect on January 1, 2026. The initiative seeks to expand the Bundeswehr to 260,000 active troops by 2035, in line with NATO commitments requiring around 20,000 new recruits each year. Germany abolished compulsory military service in 2011, shifting to an all-volunteer professional force. The armed forces currently stands at 183,000 personnel. Still on foreign, Russian forces have claimed the capture of 2 additional settlements in eastern Ukraine, located in Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv regions. According to reports from the Russian Defense Ministry, their troops advanced further into Ukrainian defensive positions and took control of the village of Danilivka in Dnipropetrovsk. In Kharkiv, Russian units reportedly seized the settlement of Sinelnikov. Fighting continues to affect the broader areas of eastern Ukraine, where both sides have been engaged in intense military operations. The reported advances come amid continued clashes across multiple fronts, including sustained artillery exchanges, airstrikes, and ground engagements. The situation on the ground remains fluid, with both sides frequently reporting territorial gains and losses. International observers have noted that information emerging from the conflict zone is often difficult to confirm, as access is limited and communications infrastructure is frequently disrupted. Analysts warn that both sides have strategic incentive to present territorial gains as evidence of progress, making independent verification critical for accurate reporting. The situation in eastern Ukraine continues to pose significant humanitarian challenges, with civilians caught between advancing forces, disrupted services, and widespread displacement. Humanitarian agencies have repeatedly called for safe corridors to allow civilians to leave conflict zones, although such efforts are often hampered by ongoing hostilities. Onto the world of sports, Barcelona have made Harry Kane their first choice target to replace Robert Lewandowski as they look to prey on a clause in the England captain's contract. Lewandowski's contract expires in the summer, and Barcelona are keen on replacing the 37-year-old with 32-year-old Kane, who they see as the ideal younger replacement. The Catalans may look to trigger a clause in Kane's contract with Bayern, which would allow him to leave for £57 million in the summer, before the end of his contract in 2027, with the striker free to talk with prospective suitors in January. Kane joined Bayern from Tottenham for £100 million in the summer of 2023 and has scored an incredible 108 goals in 113 games, becoming the fastest player this century to reach 100 goals for a club playing in one of Europe's top 5 leagues when he hit that mark in September. Kane would likely join Marcus Rashford at the Nou Camp as they want to take up the option to make the Manchester United's forward's loan move permanent at the end of the season for £30 million on the back of a stunning start to life in Spain, which has seen him contribute 6 goals and 9 assists in just 16 games. Still on sports, goalkeeper Edison Santana de Moraes has revealed that he was unhappy during his final period at Manchester City, speaking out months after his move to Turkish club Fenerbahce this summer. The Brazilian goalkeeper spent 8 years at the Etihad Stadium, winning 18 trophies, including 6 Premier League titles and a Champions League crown under Pep Guardiola. His departure followed the arrival of Gianluigi Donnarumma, who became Manchester City's first-choice goalkeeper. Edison had previously attempted to leave the club in an earlier season, a period marked by injuries that limited his appearances and affected his performance. Over the past 2 seasons at City, he missed a combined 23 games due to various injury setbacks. Since joining Fenerbahce, Edison has faced a brief muscular issue that sidelined him for 2 weeks in October, but has expressed satisfaction with the move, citing the renewed challenge and the energetic atmosphere in Turkish football. He is now preparing to return to international duty with Brazil, who will play Senegal in an international friendly on Saturday after securing qualification for the 2026 World Cup. And that's our news bulletin this morning, but before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Defense Minister shows protection for soldiers on lawful duty. Federal government pledges to foster an enabling environment for diaspora engagement. PDP suspends Guber candidate, accuses him of selling out during Anambra poll. Abia government pays 20 million naira compensation to victims of collapsed billboard in Aba. Governor Diri speaks on managing rift with deputy over APC defection. On business news, federal government holds 15% fuel import tax. NMDPRA warns against panic buying. Manufacturers seek reversal of sachet alcohol ban. On foreign, German coalition partners agree on new military service model. Russia claims advances in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv regions. On sports, Barcelona make Harry Kane first choice target in January push. Goalkeeper Edison opens up about unhappiness during final days at Manchester City. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos. Subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on future updates. My name is Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.